This is a video tutorial on how to manage and develop quizzes and examinations on StudySmart. This video tutorial will look at how to create a quiz examination, how to populate a quiz examination from a question bank, how to preview a quiz examination and edit the questions, create your own questions and add them to a quiz or examination, how to publish a quiz examination for students to access, and how to review, assess, and provide feedback to students who've undertaken a quiz examination. When we're going to create a quiz, there's actually a couple of steps to it. First one being the fact that you actually have to have the role of being an editing teacher. If you don't have access as an editing teacher, you'll be unable to add a quiz. So you'll have to check with academic management to see about the level of access you have to create a quiz. As an editing teacher, you can add a quiz and create add the questions to it. There's actually a couple of very simple steps to it. To actually add an assessment or a quiz, what we do is make sure that we're on the assessment page, and you make sure that you have the editing turned on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it off for a moment. You can see what it looks like. So to turn the editing on, you come up here to the right and turn editing on. And when you do, you'll see a number of extra menus have appeared. And those are here, these small icons. These allow you to add things to the web page. In this case, we're going to add a quiz. That's done by coming right down here to the bottom of the assessments page, because that's where we're going to put our quiz. And we click on Add an Activity or Resource. You'll get this menu up, scroll down, and you'll see that you can click on and get a quiz. A quiz and examination are exactly the same. You'll see here in the descriptions here about this attachment that you can put on, or the component you can put in, that a quiz and examination are exactly the same thing. It's just the terminology that is used for it, but the actual design and building of it is exactly the same. So we click on Quiz, click on Add. It'll ask us what is the name of the quiz we want to put in, and we're actually going to name this one Quiz 3. So I'll just put that up here in name, and down here at the bottom do Save and Return to Course, and that's all you really have to do to create a placeholder for a quiz. Now you'll note that when you're inserting these elements into the web page, the elements always go in at the bottom. So what you're going to have to do is come here to the very bottom of the page and grab the quiz here on the right or the left. You can see there's a little arrow. You just grab it and drag it up and put it where you want it. In this case, we're going to make it quiz number 3. We're in the subject QBM 200. This is just a test case on business statistics. We're just using this web page as an example on how to show you how to put in a quiz. So here's our quiz that's now been put in. To add questions to the quiz now, we click on it, and it comes and tells us no questions have been added, and you want to click on Edit Quiz. An Edit Quiz will actually access the question banks or allow you to add questions on your own. I click on Edit Quiz, and it comes up with this menu that you see here. And to add questions, it's actually done over here on the right underneath Add. And I'm going to tell it to get the questions from a question bank. And here's the question bank. Now you have to understand that on StudySmart, all the question banks are in the same directory. So you have to select the category or the course that you want to get the question bank from. So if we open this up here at the top to select a category, you'll actually see all of the question banks for all of the different subjects. Here's the question banks for financial accounting, the ones for introduction to business law, other ones for business finance. So there's a number of question banks inserted into StudySmart. You have to make sure that you obviously pick the right question bank for your subject. You'll see that it actually gives you the textbook chapters. So here we are in IMS, Information Management Systems. Chapter 4, there's 100 questions in the question bank for Chapter 4 from the textbook. And here in Entrepreneurship, in Chapter 5, Innovation of Creative Pursuit of Ideas, there are 95 questions in the question bank for chapter number 5. So we're going to go down to QBM 200, which is the subject we're developing this exam for, or quiz. And I'm just going to pick, say, chapter number 4, basic probability. There are 18 questions in the question bank. And I'll just click on that. And here are all the questions in the question bank for that chapter. These ones are all true-false. If you want to see what the full question looks like, over on the right, you can actually click on this little magnifying glass and click on it. And it'll actually show you a preview of the question and its answers. All right, just close that. Now what we'll do is we'll select our questions for the exam. And let's say or for our quiz. Let's say there's going to be 10 questions in the quiz. What I'll do is I'll select 10 questions. And I not only have to select the questions, I'm also going to have to set the number of points allocated for the quiz. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and say 10. So I've selected my 10 questions that are going to go in this quiz. I'm going to now click here at the bottom, add selected questions to the quiz. And here are the questions that are going to be asked in the quiz. And again, I can go over here to the right. I can click on the magnifying glass and preview the question. I can click on this small X, and that will actually delete the question. And I can go back and reload a new question into it if I wish. But in this case, we'll just go straight forward from here. Now you're going to see there's 10 questions. It automatically allocates 1 point for each. So the maximum grade is 10 and the total marks is 10 if you get every question correct. But let's say the quiz is for 20%. So what you're going to want to do is, actually the maximum grade is 20. And you're going to want to allocate 2 points for each one of these questions. So in this case, I'm just going to add the number 2. And on and on. And you'll see that the number value starts increasing. And I'll do this for every single question. It'll be extremely rare that you'll ever change or have multiple types of points within a quiz. By that I mean having some questions being 3 points, other ones being 8 points, some being 10 points. That's very rare. Quizzes are always done with the same point for every question. In an exam, if any questions have varying percentage points, you have to very clearly identify those questions and explain why there's varying weights to them. Students have to be informed of the weight of each question that's being asked. So I'm just going to add the last 2. And you're going to see up here at the top, the marks are actually increasing now. So I've now edited the point allocation, and this 10 question quiz is now worth 20 marks or 20 points. Now you'll see here, there's right underneath here, there's the word shuffle. What you can do is click on that, and what it will do is it will shuffle the questions when they're being asked to the various students. So some students will see question 2, some questions will see question 4, some will see question 9. That will shuffle all of the questions. It does not shuffle the answers. It only shuffles the questions. All right, and so now we've populated our exam, we've reviewed the questions, and we've allocated the points we want for each of the questions. And I'll return to the assessment page. And if I want to see what the quiz is actually going to look like, I just click right on the quiz. And I can preview the quiz. And I can go through and see what each question looks like. This also gives you the option of editing the question. And you may want to add perhaps a few words in the question or in one of the answers to maybe clarify a point. That'll be very unusual because the questions have to be exactly the same for all students. So if you're going to amend or update a quiz or make any change to questions, you have to make sure all the other lecturers teaching this subject are in agreement that any sort of question is being changed. It'll be very rare for the fact is these questions are drawn directly from the textbook, and you really want to be very circumspect in rephrasing any questions about anything based on the textbook content. So I can go through, review all the questions. If I'm happy with them, I can return to the quiz. And now the quiz is ready to be allocated and undertaken by the students.